the next step in our evolution. More powerful, more beautiful. I think I shall call him Adam.
Nothing but wit to save the world. Save the world.
Adam.
Wit saves the world.
Assemble.
It helps if we clap at the same time, right?
But we're never gonna clap at the same time, right? That's impossible.
I mean, if we do like a 3, 2, 1, and all I have to do is get the audio as close as possible.
Okay, we'll try. Here, let's do take one, which is this.
Okay, so we'll do 3, 2, 1, clap.
Okay.
Okay? Are you counting? You want me to count?
You count. But keep a beat.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
I do think Wit and Adam Saves the World has a better ring to it.
Well, I mean, like, it goes into the meta of the podcast, which is you're my sidekick.
I mean, first of all, it's really difficult not to put all of the blame on you for the way that my mic sounded in the previous episode.
Okay.
I felt like I was underwater listening back to that take.
Yeah.
Not much you can do about it. But, this is a work in progress.
Yeah.
And I kind of just felt like getting that on tape here so that I could default back on that in future recordings.
Can't wait to cut
We're
this
working
out.
on it. Stop cutting out all my shit. Did we intro somehow?
I'm Adam.
I'm Wit.
Boom. Adam and Witte save the world. That's what we're doing here. One episode at a time.
One episode at a time, but we're on the third one, so it's the third. Is this our third attempt at saving, or is this the third save?
This is the third save, yeah.
Yeah.
Each episode is like a save bullet in the body of the world.
This dumb fucking planet just can't get its shit together.
Just can't get it together.
It's our long-awaited, fan-requested underwater episode. We're going deep beneath the waves to record underwater. I want, all through this episode, bubble noises.
Yeah, we'll just jump into, how we always start these things out. The movie was directed by William Eubank. Do you remember that movie, Love? It had like the astronaut on the moon on the front cover, and all the music was done by Angels and Airwaves. That was his directorial debut. That was back in 2011. Had a budget of somewhere between $50 and $80 million. It did not do very well.
Yeah, it just seems like it didn't do well, flew under the radar.
Yeah. This is actually the last movie released under the name 20th Century Fox.
Before the Disney buyout.
Which has been around since 1935, so it's kind of interesting that, this was kind of under the radar. Movie didn't do super well, but it's got a weird spot in history.
And it will live on in the House of Mouse.
It stars Kristen Stewart, obviously from Twilight fame. She's been in a couple other movies. She was in, most recently, that Charlie's Angels remake, which was another kind of flop.
Did you see that?
I did not. I kind of wanted to with Patrick Stewart in it, but I never ended up making it to the theater.
Put Patrick Stewart in anything.
P. Stew and K. Stew in a movie together?
Oh, God. The fans have been harping on that one for years. Yeah, I feel like, obviously, I remember her from Twilight. I feel like everyone always forgets about the Panic Room.
We've also got Vincent Cassel, which is obviously Sirach from Westworld. I didn't really recognize anything else he's been in. He was in Black Swan, which I've never actually seen Black Swan.
Great movie.
One of his co-stars in this movie is John Gallagher Jr., who plays a guy, Liam, in season 3. He's only in a few episodes. So I thought that was kind of funny that they were both in this. He's actually named Liam in this movie as well, so I thought that was also kind of weird.
It's a pretty, interesting cast here. I didn't recognize, did you bring up TJ yet?
Yeah, so TJ Miller's in the movie, which is kind of, it is weird seeing him after, he got canceled. I know he got kicked off of Silicon Valley. And then he also did that weird thing where he tried to flirt with a woman on a train who shut him down, so he called a bomb threat on the train and got real drunk. That was like a whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know much about the background there of whatever he's been getting into. All I know is that it sounds like there's been a lot of them, right? Like a bunch of incidents kind of stacked on each other.
Yeah,
it's
just
tough
a lot of him
because
just being a dick.
I don't know that I've ever terribly loved TJ Miller, but it's tough because it's kind of his character, right?
Yeah.
Like, even in this movie, he's kind of an asshole, and that's, I guess, his shtick. But for half the movie, you're like, just shut up, man.
a kind of weird fact about that I've got is apparently this movie was filmed back in early 2017. But because of the Disney acquisition of Fox, like I mentioned earlier, it was pushed back almost 3 years.
Darn. So filmed before he was really in trouble.
Yeah, this early 2017.
Yeah, well, Pops, you want to put on our scuba tanks and hit this one up?
Let's go ahead and dive right in.
Go.
So we start out, we get like the opening sequence. It's kind of like a pandemic movie. We get a lot of newspaper articles of earthquakes happening in the Pacific Ocean near the Marianas Trench.
Yeah, there's a word for that. It's called exposition. And they are just laying it on thick at the beginning.
Yeah, but like you could very easily tone out and miss most of it since it's during the opening credits, you know?
It was moving through clips real fast. You see Marianas Trench, you see unknown events happening. You probably didn't really need to read any of it to watch the movie.
After the opening sequences, we were in Kepler Station. It houses this kind of big drill called the Roebuck, and they're doing some sort of like fracking. I don't know if they really ever say exactly what they're looking for.
I don't believe so. Just drilling deep underwater. Just to say it, the Kepler Station is deep underwater. Marianas Trench.
It's pretty deep.
Pretty deep. And I you know what I liked about the movie was you never see above surface, right? The entire movie takes place underwater. Weird little thing that happens at the beginning too that they never quite circle back to, but. When when we're introduced to K-Stew, she's cleaning her face up in a sink, and there's a tiny little green spider crawling around in the sink. And they kind of ask, like, how is this spider down here? I guess eventually explained, but it's probably not a normal spider.
We now have a scene of K-Stew doing a little monologue about life underwater, but then we just have the spider, like you mentioned, just in the sink, that she is going to wash down the drain, but then decides not to.
Saves the spider. The spider is probably not alive based on the next couple of moments of the movie.
Less spider, more earthquake happens, and entire station starts filling with water and imploding, and our boy
Rodrigo.
So her and Rodrigo start running down. There's actually two guys like running down the hall that they're trying to wait before they drop the door on them, but they don't make it. They have to go ahead and drop it, or they're going to lose everyone on the station, not just the people in that wing, apparently. Things pop off on this pretty quickly. I kept expecting it to be a dream sequence because of how quickly it popped off and how
I liked
intense.
it. The movie just upped those stakes immediately.
Yeah.
You know, I had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. They decide to start kind of crawling through some access panels to try to get to a higher section where they think the captain may be if he's still alive. On their journey to this other section, they find TJ Miller just taking a nap under some debris.
Classic.
And he's got like a little bunny with him, and it's just a stuffed animal. And come to find out, it was supposed to be a real bunny.
Apparently, they filmed every scene that had the bunny with a real bunny.
Okay.
The first go through. And apparently there's a scene towards the end where you can see the real bunny just for a split second while they switch scenes. But so they would film it one time with him using the real bunny, so he would know how to treat the fake bunny.
Yeah.
And then they would go back and do it with the fake bunny afterwards. There's a lot of, in general, Alice in Wonderland references thrown all over.
Oh,
the movie. Yeah. The bunny. T.J. Miller is quoting Lewis Carroll all book,
throughout like the entire thing. Yeah. He does.
I think
also,
at one point at the back on the back of his tank, I saw what did it say that we're all mad here, something like that.
I wonder
written on
why
the back of his tank.
that is. I wonder if there's an allegory
well, the
there.
director says that the movie is in many ways an homage to Alice in Wonderland, and that you're supposed to see Kirsten Stewart's character just continually going further down and down the hole,
down the rabbit hole,
and things getting crazier and wilder the further down she goes. So apparently that's pretty intentional. Those Alice in Wonderland references. Yeah,
that's pretty interesting. I like that. And then enters Captain Sirach. In this movie,
Sirach.
His name is Captain Lucian. We're probably gonna call him Captain Sirach most of the movie.
And boy, does he wear it well.
Yeah, he does a really good job. He's a good actor. I like that guy.
For an actor that seems to have been around for years, but maybe we've only known about for a week, I like him a lot. He seems great.
Before we get too deep into this, I guess we need to say Spoiler alert. We're going to, as always, we're going to get pretty deep into the spoilers. Probably ruin this movie for you if you haven't seen it.
Yeah,
and maybe ruin it for you if you have seen it.
Yeah, we might ruin it for anyone listening.
We see Sirach, and he's like stuck. There's like a door that's closed that we can't get in right away. He's kind of hunched over. I still don't really know what to expect from this movie. I'd heard rumors about what the monsters may be, but I mean, there's no telling. This could be like a weird zombie thing. It could be like face huggers. There's no real telling. I couldn't tell if he had killed himself, but he ends up being fine. He just kind of has a broken arm. But that intro scene, he looks rough.
Yeah, the way that they intro him almost looks like he's going to be a crazy person or something like that. He's just sitting alone in a room full of pods, not replying to anyone banging on the door.
We get a scene further on where he's talking about his daughter, and he mentions that she's 14. And Casey kind of looks at him and goes, "Your daughter's like my age." And so I'm like, did he get body snatched? Like, what happened? Like, I still don't know, like, what these monsters are capable of, but, like, what happened to this dude, you know? Which we do find out later that his daughter actually died when she was 14, and Keisu just didn't know. That he kind of just talked about her like she was still alive. And in that moment of weakness, he said the truth.
Rude.
We get the remaining part of our crew, which includes Emily, which she's Colleen Wing from Iron Fist.
I really love Colleen Wing from Iron Fist. That's the only thing I know her from, but really, she was the only redeeming thing from that really not great show.
And that's another thing. Our entire crew, everyone in this movie, our cast, it's a fun crew for a movie that didn't do very well. I think like the cast has got pretty good chemistry.
Yeah, I like the crew a lot for sure. I mean, I've never had a problem with Kristen Stewart. Vincent Castle's cool. Could live without T.J. Miller. I really liked, I think it's Jessica Henwick, the actress that plays Colleen Wing.
Yeah.
Wing. She's really great. Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of the people in this movie, and I really like the aesthetic of the movie, too.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me in a lot of ways of, like, almost an Alien, or not quite a Blade Runner, but that sense of where things feel really analog, and you know, we're not dealing with this trend that's in a lot of movies these days where everything's like holograms and future computers. I liked that kind of grounded feel to it.
Especially in the beginning, it really has that feel of Alien meets BioShock. Just the kind of like color scheme, and man, do I want a BioShock movie.
And they do a really good job of making you, I think, at the start of the movie, before that initial catastrophe even happens, of just making you feel very claustrophobic.
Oh, yeah.
Remember in that opening entry scene, they just start kind of showing you the environment, and you can hear the creaks and the noises, and you start to feel confined. And yeah, I just remember that having more of an impact than I was expecting.
Most of the movie is shot in like pretty tight quarters, I'd say.
It's either in the tight quarters or when they're just out in the deep. Which
has its own type of, like, weird kind of eerie feeling it gives you. Like, deep water, like, I know you've done some diving. You're actually dive certified. I've done very little diving, but, man, when even just being at the top of the water and looking down at, like, 100 feet or deeper, it's eerie. Not being able to see the bottom is something.
Yeah, there's a point where they're out in the water and they shine the flashlight into the black, and you just see the light kind of disappear into the black.
Oh yeah, it's just gone.
And yeah, and I've done I've done night diving, and if you shut your flashlight off out there, it is pitch black, like terrifying. And just the idea of being where they are in this movie, it definitely makes you feel a little freaked out.
Oh yeah. So now that we've got our crew together, we make a little plan. The plan is to get to the drill itself. Since the Kepler station is falling apart, they decide to actually get to the Roebuck, where it may have extra escape pods that haven't been taken or destroyed.
Right, which means that they have to go out into the deep. And they say that they never walked from one station to another.
No, because there's
they
like
say
transport,
that the suits
apparently
are primarily used for them to do repairs and that little thing, but they're not used to being out there for extended period.
And they've got to walk, I think it's like 5 miles. It doesn't seem like a lot, but being that deep underwater and pitch black and not knowing exactly what's out there, we get a little montage of them having to put on their kind of underwater spacesuits. Weird, like, SpongeBob SquarePants punk song that plays.
It's funny you say spacesuits, because I feel like you get a lot of those vibes, at least towards the beginning of the movie, too.
Oh, yeah.
It feels very... isolation, space station kind of style.
Yeah.
Kristen Stewart's having that conversation about how the days and nights all blur together down there.
So we get in our suits, we get on this elevator, and this is when we get kind of our first idea that maybe there's some sort of creature that is causing the elevator to not be able to go down. We don't really get a clear image, but we kind of see that there may be something out there. Then we get something I was not expecting. One of the craziest scenes in the movie. Our boy Rodrigo, apparently his helmet may be a little faulty. While the elevator can't really figure out what it's going to do, they need to go ahead and open the door to jump down before the elevator just starts crashing. And by doing that, they have to allow the elevator to depressurize. And the helmet cracks. And his entire body explodes.
Yeah, so like kind of classic horror movie. We've been watching this for like 15, 20 minutes, and we haven't seen anyone die in a while. I think we saw a couple, we didn't really see those guys die when K-Stu originally closed the gate. But yeah, so they go down that elevator, and pretty immediately, it happens pretty fast. The pressure just catches up, and that guy pops.
We're all trying to regain our composure inside this room while we kind of get our oxygen back. We decide that we need to go out because we're getting a life signature. And so Captain Sirach thinks that someone is outside. We need to go check. It ends up being TJ Miller and our boy Liam. They go out, and we get the first-person view where it's all distorted because they're underwater, and the camera's just moving so fast and loose. That scene where they're walking around trying to find that.
Yeah, it definitely disorients you a lot. I thought it was well done. I also liked that they find what they were looking for. This distress signal is linked to one of those escape pods that apparently failed to get out. TJ Miller starts investigating the body. They find the body, and there's an alien whatever rolling around there. Something in its back. You can see through his back, and there's some sort of creature in there. It lunges at TJ Miller, and what I like, TJ Miller did not get killed in this moment. TJ Miller whooped this thing, brought it inside, and now we're taking a look at this weird, deformed.
It's like a baby xenomorph meets like a squid. It's really
I'd say
strange
xenomorph, squid, and maybe a little bit of ourselves in there.
We don't really know what these things are.
Yeah, I believe Emily describes it as a new species.
Yeah.
Maybe something that hasn't been recorded before, but they're definitely starting to put those vibes out there that we shouldn't be drilling down here.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a little too deep for us.
In some of these other areas that we're getting into that the crew's not really supposed to be in, that they're trying to regain composure and check their suits and make sure the oxygen levels are fine. There are weird paintings on the walls and stuff, weird murals of creatures coming from the bottom of the ocean, and there's some weird background images that we keep seeing that no one's really talking about. That does not seem like it would. It's not like a hang in there cat or anything. It doesn't really seem like it's boosting morale.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things where they, you're not going to get much in terms of background or canon or where these creatures came from, but if you pay attention to some of those background images, maybe you can piece some of the pictures together. Yeah, I don't know.
We need to now jump and get to the bottom quicker. We get the kind of cool disaster movie where we're running and debris falling above us, and we've got to kind of dodge that as best we can.
I don't think they really tell you why the station exploded. I guess just the first. I guess after that first explosion, everything's just kind of falling.
We're
apart.
still assuming that that everything is just kind of breaking down from that first initial earthquake.
Right.
We don't know if it's now that we've made first contact, is there something causing this? So far the things we've seen are kind of small.
Things are getting a little fishy.
We luckily get into this access tunnel. With no casualties. Liam did get hit in the back with a piece of debris, and it kind of messed up his air tank.
Well, it slows him, and I think it's the reason he's kind of moving slow for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
They mess with his oxygen, and I think he was just oxygen deprived, moving through the water for a part of that. So they get his helmet off, but his eyes are he's not making eye contact with anybody, and he's kind of half asleep.
A little wacky. We get to the end of this tunnel, and we find out that it has kind of collapsed. K-Stu decides that she's going to go down and see if she can get through it since she's the smallest in the crew. Gets through it pretty easily. So now everyone kind of
fine.
Yeah, everyone kind of crawls under. TJ Miller is last. He gives his bunny away, and it's one of those things where it's You know, he already had one kind of hairy moment. Is he going to get another one?
You say one. I feel like they've kind of been teasing him a few times. They show that T.J. Miller, like, okay, this is the one where he bites the bullet and he keeps on coming back.
T.J. Miller actually says that there's he's like, I don't know, man, there's some Slender Man ass shit happening.
Yeah, there's some more squid shit going on.
No, we got our second death of the movie here, actually.
It's a good one.
T.J. Miller I thought it was just his leg. He gets ripped out of his suit. Liam, his suit's not doing very well.
Yeah, Liam's having a rough go. Constantly confused as to how he's still alive.
Yeah, the rest of the movie, I don't know if he really talks really anymore. He kind of just...
No.
I
forgot he was a character for a long while.
Yeah, he's kind of just there as a plot device for the rest of the movie from this point out. Ironically, it goes straight into... We have to go back out onto the ocean floor. We're going to start this journey over. And Liam gets... he goes missing. They turn their back on him for a second. He goes missing, so we have to go find him. Which I don't know. Maybe a lost cause at this point.
Where are you even going to look?
Well, they find him. But now Captain Sirach and Case2 go for a ride because they're tethered together. And one of the monsters that took Liam didn't finish him off, but was waiting for one of the stronger ones to come by, apparently. And rip him up and start taking him towards the surface.
Yeah, and so the Cap and K-Stew are ripping towards the surface. Kind of a reverse version of what happened to that guy at the elevator shaft at the top of the movie. But
yeah,
they're getting pulled up. The pressure's way too much.
We get dangerously close to them getting the bends.
Yeah, a fate worse than death. The bends. I actually have heard that it's
supposed to be rough, right?
Just really awful. You got to live with it for the rest of your life. Yeah.
If it doesn't kill you.
Luckily, the captain is freed from the burden of the bends because he blown up.
Even though we've already kind of got a death like that, still, man, what a way to go. And it looks good on screen, right?
It looks good because that first one is my man at the bottom of the shaft.
Yeah.
And he is crumpled by the pressure of the ocean.
Yeah.
This guy, the captain, he's expanding, right?
Yeah.
So he just... Yeah, much bigger boom on this guy.
Yeah.
And he cuts K-Stew, go right. You know, they're having a heartfelt, because she's about to go up with him. I don't really know why she won't let go. She's not doing any good, like weighing him down or keeping him safe. So he cuts her loose, and
we do actually see a more like human-like, or at least human-sized creature is what attacked them. You know, much bigger than our little like squid thing.
Very human shaped. I know that no one listening can see, but I'll show you this little picture right here.
Aw.
A couple of tendrils.
Kind of remind me of Zora's from Legend of Zelda.
Okay, yeah, but way nastier.
So Case2 kind of falls down, somehow makes it to the drill, but realizes pretty quickly that there are no escape pods left. Go ahead. She grabs a quick shower, you know, because when you're feeling down, you just need a quick shower.
Interesting scene. Yeah. I mean, it was just kind of her. It was her post-Cap death. Just kind of taking it all.
Now she's alone too.
Yeah,
because we don't know where. We don't even know if Emily and Liam are still alive. But they're definitely not with us as they are.
I guess the threat of like buildings immediately collapsing is maybe off the table. I don't know. I don't know what she's wasting her time for.
This is far enough from the other one that collapsed. I think the elevator shaft was too close to the main building. The second one, I think the debris hit it and made it start collapsing. But this is, we're 5 miles from the original collapse. I think, too, part of the reason she had to take the shower in there, I mean, one, she's at the drill site because she needs to build a new suit because her suit's messed up.
Right.
But we get in there and it shows a flash of her wedding ring.
Yeah, directorial vision, like we got to show this necklace somehow.
Yeah, because it's like it's like a weird, like a subplot that we've got that every time we have a down moment, they show something. So like in the beginning, we get the opening monologue before everything hits the fan. There's a picture that keeps kind of floating around that like the captain kind of hides at first, that Rodrigo kind of finds, that she then eventually picks up and puts back in her pocket. Like it's kind of, we're just getting little things, Yeah,
it's very loose and doesn't really You know, a lot of horror movies, it's like the main character's gone through some sort of traumatic event, and they kind of somehow use the movie to get through that and to overcome that. I don't know that this felt like that necessary to the plot.
No.
It was kind of just let's humanize these characters an inch more.
While we're here, like I said, we need to kind of fix our suit, but we find Sirach's old uniform.
When she is going through his locker, she pushes some of his clothes back. There's like this big map. Among other things, besides that map, we see some weird drawings, some sketches, and we have one Cthulhu drawn pretty accurately.
Sirach's a good artist.
Yeah, not bad. Well, there's a couple different styles on there. I don't know if he drew it. I mean, I guess if you're at the bottom of the ocean, you're going to experiment with some different genres.
I mean, I like the headcanon that he was digging around and found it. Right? It's like a return the slab kind of thing.
So yeah, kind of final push. I think K-Stu at this point just thinks she's alone. There's the potential that Liam and Emily are still alive and out there, but
I feel like I wouldn't have high hopes. I mean, you're in a giant ocean, right?
How are you gonna find anyone?
There's no way.
I don't know how Liam has survived any of this. But K-Stu knows what she's got to do. She's got one more main location to check out on her mini map. Her goal being still to find those escape pods and get out of there.
And you can't have a weird space or underwater monster movie without finding a flare gun.
Of course.
Just got to do it.
A deep sea flare gun. This thing works when wet.
Yeah, this is more powerful than anything we've ever seen.
Ever encountered.
But we don't even need the flare gun to find the beacon that is Emily and Liam, actually. Because they're, like, right outside, just hanging out.
They're right outside, and Emily is losing her shit.
Yeah,
she's having a bad time. I guess I imagined at that point that she says she didn't expect that K-Stu was still alive.
Yeah.
So, man, if you just imagine you're down there alone.
Yeah. And especially because the only other person with you he might as well be dead.
Worse. He's a weight. He's an anchor. He's dragging around.
Literal dead weight. Weird thing is, like, we kind of find out a little earlier that, like, maybe these creatures are kind of attracted to the light. So we're dragging Liam, and his chest lights are just on. And it's just like, maybe turn his lights off if you're dragging dead weight. Like, if you need yours to see, his is just a beacon that's like. It's just like, hey, in case you don't see these two lights in front of us, here's these that are pointing straight up into the air. We approach the Roebuck station. It looks like we're pretty close to getting out of here. We're just assuming that this place has got escape pods. That's been the plan all along.
As they approach Roebuck station, they see loads of these hanging, seemingly incubating, or they cut those lights. They're trying to sneak through real quiet. I got really frustrated during this scene because they're just not moving. Get in there.
It's taking so long, yeah.
It's taking so long. They're getting slapped in the face by all these humanoid web feet.
Yeah.
You know? We wake one up, apparently. This monster, like, picks K-Stu up and, I mean, really jerks her around, right? Like, it's like slamming her on the ground, squeezing her. In my notes here, as jarring as they are, all I've really got written down is no way. There's no way that
something like that you don't survive, right? This is very much in game. Hey, the bad guy won. Movie's over, man.
Yeah, this felt very much like really the only. I mean, the movie's fairly grounded. Besides these monsters, like, people are dying for pretty reasonable reasons.
Yeah.
This was the first little stretch where I was like, okay, K-Stu, like, you shouldn't have made it out of that one. But the thing starts, like, eating her, like, basically pulling itself over her. And she finally pulls out that flare gun, and I was a little surprised. One shot is all it takes.
Yeah.
One shot is all it takes. I figured, like, a squid or an octopus, you might rip one arm off and it could keep going. But
I mean, you did mention this isn't just a flare gun, right?
This is a deep sea, high pressure weapon.
Yeah. So
she puts one round through that thing, and that's pretty cool. We killed one.
We got him down.
Yeah, but you are pretty immediately. So it turns out that thing we had trouble describing, where they're incubating or hanging on or whatever, is apparently the limb of a much more dangerous creature. I mean, insane. We get what can only be described as the Cthulhu, right? The big guy shows up, and it is ridiculous.
It's kind of crazy how we ramp up in size of these creatures. We start off with something like maybe the size of a little squid. Then we've got a human-like creature, and now we have like Godzilla,
a kaiju, effectively. Yeah. It is insanely diminishing. K-Stu puts that second flare up, and it shines like a tiny little bit of light on this giant, gaping, teethy jaw. The big tendrils you expect from Cthulhu.
We get the Davy Jones octopus face for sure.
Yeah. Oh, definitely Davy Jones. Which came first, Cthulhu or CGI Davy Jones?
Well, hey, how about if you're watching this, go ahead and write down in the comments what you think.
Yeah, if we have a comment section, let us know which came first, CGI Davy Jones or The Legend of Cthulhu.
So we get pulled into the drill station by Emily.
The fact that the Cthulhu creature is like twice the size of this station, things aren't fine, and it's strange that they have any moment of silence or peace at all in this movie.
They honestly just kind of hang out. They kind of mosey their way into this station. I do like there's like an announcer kind of like, welcome to this station, and one of the lines are, we've got big things in store for you. And I thought that was amazing.
That was a great drop. They dropped that one right when K-Stu is like kind of staring out the window at Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Big things in store. Yeah, that kind of added to that BioShock circle of value kind of theme,
Yeah. So we realize pretty quickly, or K-Stu seems to be the only one to realize it in the beginning, we've only got 2 escape pods left in this. And they're only one-person pods. It makes you wonder, could you not just kind of... Is there like a weight thing? Like, could you not just kind of like scrunch in there?
I think it's absolutely worth a try.
Yeah.
I also, in my notes, 2 people, 1 pod is what I wrote.
Yeah, this feels very much like, just get on the door, Jack.
Yeah, this feels very spiritual successor to Jack not getting on the door in Titanic.
The door is big enough, man. Just climb up there. Who cares? If you're both a little cold, it's better than one of you being really cold and one of you just not being wet.
Well, even when they show the door slam on Emily, because K-Stu
she's got room to move around in there.
K-Stu makes the sacrifice, and they push Liam through. They push Emily through, and it looks like there's so much room in there. Emily kind of catches on that K-Stu's about to make the big sacrifice, and does a little bit of pushing back. I mean, you can tell she wants to get in that pod, but she's doing that kind of polite pushback, and K-Stu. There's no runtime left in this movie for it, Emily. K-Stu just lays her out.
We find out pretty quickly that these creatures are chasing after the 2 escape pods. And so K-Stu has a decision to make. Does she fix her escape pod or attempt to and have her friends most likely die and these creatures just run amok for however long, wherever? Or do we figure out a way to melt down the core? And luckily have a pretty convenient core meltdown radius shows up on the screen of how big this blast is going to be compared to where the creatures are.
It's important to know. Yeah.
So she decides to sacrifice herself and blow the place up.
I don't know that I ever got the impression really that she thought she was going to make it out of there. When she looked at that 3rd pod, she kind of had this resigned look on her face. Where I guess I got the impression from there that her she was telling Emily that she was going to fix the pod to get Emily out of there.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem like there was much hope she was going to really make it out. They never really give you like a loaded gun on this nuclear thing she can do to the building. That you expect at the beginning of the movie the captain says something offhand like, well, if we had to, at least we could blow this place. They never really drop you much like that.
She's definitely decided to be the hero here and save her 2 friends and sacrifice herself to take out Cthulhu and his minions, which works. K-Stu saves the day.
Yeah, K-Stu drops the bomb. I don't know if we got no detail, but is this like a mythical creature? Is this just an animal? Can this thing be killed by bombs?
We do see that the blast radius is going to cut all of them out. We don't know what kind of damage it's going to do.
That flare gun killed one. So you like to think.
Again, we don't know a lot about these deep sea flares and the
we
power
don't know
that
much
they
about
hold.
the flare, and we don't know much about Cthulhu.
What makes them shine so bright if they're not nuclear? Maybe these are nuclear flares.
Are the flares nuclear weapons?
We don't know much about the technology. Like, is this in the future? Is this present day? Like, what kind of?
Again, I like the movie. The movie, just because you've mentioned these potential stakes of like, let's kill this thing. Who knows what it does to the greater stakes of the world or something. I liked how self-contained the movie was.
I wouldn't mind some more Lovecraft movies that do well. You know.
Sure. Yeah, it certainly doesn't feel like a movie that warrants a sequel. And like you said, didn't necessarily perform too well, so probably wouldn't. And lastly, K-Stu got blown up. So
K-Stu's dead.
Gone. I mean, there's always some Cthulhu magic there, though.
Emily and Liam make it to the surface and get rescued. We do get that in like a little news thing at the end. The company has resumed drilling and have classified all of the info on the disaster.
Yeah, they really don't give you too much there. It really reminded me of the that corporation from the Alien movies. What's that the like Weyland-Yutani Corporation?
Yeah.
You know, very clearly like we're gonna cover this up. We got drilling work to do. Well, so Adam, we did it. The fans have been requesting it. We finally did it. We did a deep dive. We streamed this entire episode from 40 Leagues Under. And I gotta ask, resounding question, what did you think of the movie?
I liked the movie. I didn't know much about it going in. I had heard a rumor that it was a Lovecraft movie, which you really don't give that until the end. I mean, you get some hints if you kind of pay attention to the background, but you don't really know that it's Lovecraftian or if it's just like weird underwater creatures, you know?
Sure. And to be fair to the plot, I don't know that them being Lovecraftian really mattered.
It didn't.
My understanding from reading the notes online is that they were not Lovecraftian at all prior to
it was not the plan.
Yeah, after shooting the film, they circled back and said, "Why not? Let's add a little Lovecraft to this one."
Yeah.
I also really liked the movie. Had a really good time with it. Just a good quality budget horror movie. I really like the idea of you somehow integrating these fish puns. I have no idea how. I know I threw some housekeeping at you at the top of this thing. You got anything for us, Adam? Anything to tie up any loose ends?
I don't think so.
Adam, we're at the end of the episode. We didn't do the segment of the week.
Well, Witt, I'm glad you asked, because that right there is where's the segment of the week? Segment of the week. Do 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 do. I don't know. Well, maybe not.
Dun 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 dun.
The next step in our evolution, more powerful, more beautiful. I think I should call him Adam.
Nothing but wit to save the world. Save the world.
Adam.
Wit, save the world.
Assemble.